Most of us are just specialized insects. I just spent a few hours listening to Naval Ravikant talk with Joe Rogan, and honestly, my head is still spinning. It wasn't just a business talk, it was a complete teardown of how we've been told to live our lives. There's this moment where Naval says we've all become these narrow, pithy summaries of ourselves. You're a software engineer, you're a marketing guy. But he looks back at the Greeks and Romans, the ancients. They didn't do that. They went to school, then to war, then ran a business, then served in the Senate, then became philosophers. They had an arc. He says specialization is for insects. We're multivariate. We're capable of every experience. This part really stuck with me because we're so afraid to deviate from our niche. But you have one life. Why wouldn't you try to do everything? But if you're going to live that way, you have to be okay with looking like a total amateur. Stop being afraid to go back to the bottom. Naval uses this great analogy about mountain climbing. Imagine you're 2/3 of the way up a massive peak. You've spent your whole life climbing it. You're high up, but suddenly you see the true summit, and it's way over there. To get to it, you have to go all the way back down to the bottom and find a new path. Most people won't do it. They're too proud of being 2/3 of the way up a lesser mountain. They don't want to start over. But he says the greatest creators, people like Elon Musk or even Madonna, have this weird ability to just start over. They're willing to be the fool again. They have that beginner's mind. If you aren't willing to go back to the beginning, you aren't growing. You're just getting older. That willingness to learn starts with how you consume information. And Naval's approach to books is wild. Stop reading to finish. This blew my mind. Naval grew up with a single mom in a tough neighborhood, and she used the local library as his daycare. He just lived there. He read everything. Maps, magazines, every book on the shelf. Because of that, he lost the vanity of finishing books. You know the type. People who post photos of a massive stack of books they've read just to signal how smart they are. He calls that a vanity metric. He'd rather read the best 100 books over and over again until he actually absorbs them. He's got 50 or 70 books open on his Kindle at any time. He bounces around. If he's bored, he drops it. If he finds a thread that's interesting, he follows it through 5 different social networks and libraries until he gets to the bottom of it. He's not tracking books read. He's tracking concepts understood. Deep understanding is the only thing that creates real wealth in this world. But most of us are doing it wrong. You will never get rich renting out your time. This is the core of his famous how to get rich philosophy. It doesn't matter if you're a high-priced lawyer or a doctor charging $500 an hour. If you're renting out your time, you aren't free. Your lifestyle just ramps up with your income and you're trapped. To get real financial freedom, you need equity. You have to own a piece of a business. You need a brand or a product that accrues value while you sleep. We live in an age of infinite leverage. That means your actions can be multiplied 1,000-fold through code or media or capital. One good decision can influence millions of people. In an age like this, the quality of your judgment is way more important than how many hours you grind. If you aren't renting out your time, then you have to rethink how you actually work. Stop grazing like a cow and start hunting like a lion. Naval says the 9-to-5 model is a relic of the industrial age. It's for machines. Humans weren't meant to sit in a cubicle and graze all day. We're closer to carnivores. We're meant to function like intellectual athletes. You train hard, you sprint, then you rest. Then you reassess and look at your feedback loops. Then you sprint again. This idea that you're going to have linear output just by cranking at the same level every single day is a lie. As a modern knowledge worker, you should be focused on the hunt, That high leverage moment where your specific knowledge makes the most impact. Then you need the rest so your mind stays clear enough to make the next big call. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because wealth is totally useless if you're too miserable to enjoy it. If you're so smart, why aren't you happy? That's Naval's challenge to all the intellectuals out there. He says happiness isn't just something that happens to you. It's a choice. It's a skill you can learn, just like fitness or nutrition. He actually uses a social contract to force himself into it. He told all his friends, "I'm a happy person." Now, he has to live up to it. He says humans have this deep need to be consistent with their past pronouncements. If you're serious about a change, you announce it. You put your reputation on the line. He views his own mind as something he has to tame, just like his body. If your mind is always running, always twitching, always thinking too much, you're not high performing. You're just having a mental seizure. But choosing happiness requires you to deal with the constant nagging noise of wanting more. Desire is a contract you sign with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. I had to pause the audio when he said that. It's such a simple way to look at it. Every time you desire something, you're literally telling yourself, "I'm not okay right now. I'll only be okay when I have that." He's not saying don't have missions. He's saying don't pick up thousands of desires unconsciously. Don't be unhappy because your coffee is cold or you're not sitting perfectly. Pick your one overwhelming desire, your one big mission. It's okay to suffer over that one, but let the others go. If you can let go of the minor desires, you stay calm, you stay peaceful. And ironically, that's when you actually perform the best. The problem is, letting go is incredibly hard when your mind won't stop talking to you. Your mind is like a cluttered email inbox. Think about it. All your past regrets, your unresolved issues, your judgments, they're just unread emails piling up for decades. When you finally sit down to meditate, those emails start flying at you. What about this? Did you solve that? Most people get scared and quit because they can't clear their mind. But Naval says that's exactly when the work starts. You have to sit there and listen to yourself. You have to work through those emails one by one. Eventually, you hit inbox 0. There comes a day when you sit down and you're only thinking about what happened yesterday because you've processed everything else. That's when the real meditation starts. It's not an app, it's not a special technique, it's just the art of doing nothing until your mind settles. Once that mind is quiet, you stop trying to compete with everyone else. No one can compete with you at being you. This is how you escape the competition trap. If you're building a business or a career based on what everyone else is doing, you're going to be in a constant stressful race. But if you are authentic, if you do the thing that feels like play to you but looks like work to others, you have no competition. Naval looks at people like Joe Rogan. There's no substitute for Joe Rogan. If he disappears, another podcaster doesn't just fill the slot. The slot is gone. That's specific knowledge. It's the stuff you can't be trained for. You find it by leaning into your own obsessions. When you combine that authenticity with leverage and your own name, you become a money-making machine that doesn't have to look over his shoulder. When you finally reach that point of authenticity, you realize you've already won. Retirement starts when you stop sacrificing today for an imaginary tomorrow. We've been lied to about retirement. We think it's being 65 and sitting in a nursing home. Naval says you're retired when today is complete in and of itself. There are 3 ways to get there. You can have so much money that your passive income covers your burn. You can drive your burn rate down to 0 and become a monk. Or you can do something you love so much that it isn't a work. When you stop trading your present happiness for a future payoff that might never come, you're free. You're done. You can spend your life doing art, which he defines as anything done for its own sake. Wealth, health, and happiness are skills you can learn, not things that just happen to you. Real freedom is when you finally stop playing everyone else's game and realize your life is a single-player experience happening entirely inside your own head. Every man has 2 lives,
and the second starts when he realizes he has just won. If you want to hear more deep dives into the minds that are actually changing the game, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned.